Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4? Woo! Wow. Thank you, Microsoft, for spamming my desktop with that. I don't give a shit about that. Oh, man. I didn't make it 30 seconds without swearing. Dang it. Oh, darn it. To get any desk fired up. Mark! What's up, Mark? How you doing? It's just starting. See the coolant temp here on the left side of the screen? 61 degrees Celsius. I just fired it up. Oh, yeah, dude. Pro Skater 2, I think, was like one of my favorite games ever back in, like, what was that? 2000-ish? Somewhere around there? Or was that 3? I don't know. One of those. It was awesome. And then I had a Game Boy Advance that I got from Japan before they were available in the U.S. And I had Tony Hawk Skater on that and a bunch of other games that you can get. Well, you couldn't get anything in the U.S. yet, so it was badass. I really enjoyed playing it. It was a good time. It's when I first learned about Christ Air. All right, let's see. Let me get any desk up on here. So this car here is warming up. Not much on this car. This guy is just at the beginning of his modding process, but he wanted that fun link action, and I wanted to give it to him. I mean, the shop. But oh, here you go. Check this out. This is the tractive effort of 2 dynographs on the screen here, which you'll see. Okay. The reason I put tractive effort is because this is the raw power at the tires without anything being adjusted for weather correction. Now, this is foot-pounds from the machine, whatever. The value is not important. What's important here is what I want to show you. Okay, now, this red graph. I did this recently. This red graph, I could have added a little bit of timing right at the mid-range here, and it would have come up a little bit like this, and it would have had another 30 foot-pounds or so through the mid-range. I absolutely could have done that. And I didn't because, well, you don't know because you can't see it, but this is almost 700 wheel. And I like to keep heads on engines. So on this one, I know how this guy drives. So I didn't want to give it too much right here in this spot because he drives aggressive. This one, on the other hand, does have some up there, also nearly 700 wheel, and maybe I should pull it down some. I don't know because of that. But what are these 2 cars? Well, these 2 cars have the exact same intake manifold on them, the Process West. The red one is a 2.5 liter. The green one is a 2.3 liter. The red one has ported heads, significantly ported heads. The green one does not. Both have the same exhaust cam. One of them has my intake cam, this one. The red one has a bigger turbo on more boost, and this one is a smaller turbo on less boost. Okay, now this one is starting to fall off here. I'm pretty certain this is valve float. That's what I think is going on there. I think that is dropping off because the valves are floating. Now this curve here is torque, right? We're looking at foot-pounds. This is going to look like the torque curve, not the power curve. So like this red one has very flat torque-ish torque, and it goes up a smidge here. This one's fairly flat. I mean, they're fairly flat torque in the grand scheme of things. But I didn't show that because I wanted to show the raw thing because they were done on different days and all of that. No, I don't want that button. That's the wrong one. I want this one. Okay. So I'm going to put this on here. We'll look at torque. And you'll see torque here. Similar to this graph. See? It's got a little bump here. This one's flatter. Okay. And if I bring up the power, like this, See that they're not falling like it shows on the other one, because that was torque falling. Right now horsepower, it's carrying pretty good, but I'm pretty sure it's about to start floating the valves up there. Anyway, so these are the two power curves: 2.5 liter, 2.3 liter. The 2.3 is really carrying. Like I said, it's unported heads, smaller turbo than the 2.5. So what the heck, right? Like, well, the biggest thing is efficiency. People forget that engine geometry plays a part in how efficient the engine is at producing power. And the 2.5 geometry is really good from this 35 to 5,500 RPM range. That's where the 2.5 liter excels. Over that, the long stroke and the short rods, it eats shit. And then the 2.3 excels from the 5,000 area up to like the 8K range with the +2 rods and all that, right? It's more efficient up there. So here I am on less boost, less flowing head, smaller turbo. Both of them are on E60, et cetera, et cetera. Same intake manifold. The red one's got a bigger exhaust manifold for more top-end power. And like I said, it's running more boost on the bigger turbo. And the 2.3 is shining here where the 2.5 is not. And I think that's important for people to realize and look at and understand, because the engine geometry does play a large part in how the engine behaves. Obviously, so do the cams. Obviously, so do the heads, the porting, the turbo. All that stuff matters. And what import guys either forgot or never learned, or what domestic guys have known all along, that you buy mods that complement your target power. They complement what you're trying to do. And so if you're trying to run the engine up here, then you do the stuff up here. If you're trying to run the engine down here, then you do the stuff down here, right? That kind of stuff. Now, another thing this is important is if you're in like a class where the turbos are limited, right? So let's say I'm in a racing class and my turbo size is limited, or it's a specific turbo that you're supposed to use, then that means that everyone in that class is limited by the same airflow capability of those turbos. And so where you gain your advantage is in your ability to find where you're going to operate that engine and use everything you can to your advantage to extract the power that's available from those turbos in the area you want to use it. And so in this case, if I had a high stall and automatic, I would want the 2.3. If I had, a different engine or a different if I needed a different power band, well, in this case, the 2.3 is going to excel in all of them, because from 55 and up, it's better. But the point is that you should build the engine based on what you are trying to achieve, and not just go, oh, this is a race car part. Oh, this other guy did this. Oh, whatever. I get a lot of customers who will buy something because it says race on it, because therefore it means it's better than the street version, and that's not the case at all. So that's because it's for a race car. And so you need to keep in mind when you're building your setups what is going to be efficient where, and base it all on that, essentially. I see some people here. Any racing sim fans in the chat? Sim racing really close. Don't spend money on a simulator. Stay away. D-stroker for the win. You should get on some sweat that says do the math or because math. Yeah, I could do something like that. It'd be fun. Because testing. But anyway, so I just wanted to show you guys that comparison there with the dynographs and how they're both STIs, both the same gear. The dyno was set for the exact same parameters right here. They were untouched. They both had big 18-inch or 19-inch wheels and tires on them. Both got wide tires. They both had, it was like they were very, 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 very similar in lots and lots of ways. But the biggest way being that they were different was smaller turbo, smaller engine, I think a better cam, and then smaller turbo, smaller engine, better cam, and then just the fact that geometry was different. Like I said, they're both on 60% ethanol and everything. So if you're class limited especially, you need to get those little percentages where you can. Whether it's in engine geometry, the transmission, the rear end, all that stuff, right? You need to pull a percent out here, a percent there. And that's one thing I talk about too with my friend. I was giving him a hard time, and I think he's texting blowing me up right now, mad at me for what I said. transmission technology has come a long way since the 60s. And if you look at transmissions like the 8 HP versus Turbo Hydra fucking anything, 350, 400, 704, 204R, whatever, right? The 8 HP consumes way less power than the other ones do. Way less power. In fact, 8 HP is such a revolutionary transmission in its design that it's got global patents and everyone is copying it and making tiny changes to try and get around the patent. But all the engines that you see now, the 8-speed Chevy and 10-speed Chevy and Fords, the 9-speeds, those are all based now on the 8 HP's patented design because it is so efficient. And you can have such a wide range of gear ratios and being able to do so with only 3 clutches, 2 bands. I think it's 3 clutches, 2 bands, and 3 gear sets in the 8 HP, if I recall correctly. Like, you're able to get so many ratios out of it and combinations and do it with extreme efficiency. Even from Gen 1 to Gen 2 8 HP, they reduced power consumption by, I think it was 3%, if I recall. Maybe it was 7. It was a pretty sizable number between Gen 1 and Gen 2 8 HP, what they did to reduce power consumption by the transmission. Now, if you're in a race, 7% less power consumption by the transmission, based on what your power output, I mean, that could be 5, that could be 100 less horsepower consumed by the transmission. That is advantage in your favor in that, just by having a newer, lower friction, more efficient transmission design than the other guy. So, obviously, both these cars had 6 speeds. They both had the same ratios. They were the newer 08 Plus ratios, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, in fact, actually, if you look at this, looks like the 2.5 or 2.3 liter started a smidge later than the 2.5, just a smidge later. That's 100 RPM. So that means that there's a slight tire size difference potentially, but it was really close. But otherwise, all the parameters over here on the left were the same. Everything was the same. So, can I remove that? You can't, can you? And just keep adding it. Huh. Anyways, I want to show you guys that comparison there of the differences in the output of the vehicle versus other stuff. This is on the wrong one. You lost me with the automatic transmission. Yeah, I mean, it applies for manuals too. I mean, guys with 5s versus 6 speeds are seeing that that the 5-speed consumes less power than the 6-speed. I mean, it's lighter, and all of that, as well as having smaller everything in it, and therefore it's going to use less power. It's got all the parts are smaller. It makes it less capable of high power, but it's less rotating mass, less friction than the bigger ones. So, I mean, even just the gears, right? If the gears are wide and there's a lot of contact patch on them, gears make contact, right? I mean, they're touching. Try to figure out if that's how I want to say that. Give me a second. Obviously, metal on metal would be damaging, but you can see that there is wear on the gears from where they contact. They do have a film of oil on them to protect them and all that, but they do make contact. They do wear into each other and all of that. Now, in that is friction. There's still friction. I mean, just because oil's there doesn't mean there's no friction. And so if I have a wider gear with the same tooth pitch and, helical angle and all that stuff, it's going to have more friction on the wider one. 8 HP, they're going 8, yeah, right. What's crazy with 8 HP is that they actually are called 8 HP 45, 8 HP 50, 8 HP 60, 8 HP 70, 75, and 90. And what you do is you add a 0 to that last 2 digits, so the 90 is 900 Newton meters. So you're taking a transmission that was designed for 900 Newton meters of torque, which is crazy.
Okay, I found this on the web for take me to a transmission.
Shut up. 900 Newton meters of torque from the factory that's designed to shift in 0.2 seconds. 0.2 seconds. That is a fast shifting automatic by any standard. And so if you wanted to race with that, you're taking a transmission that's made to handle the power from the manufacturer. You're not taking a transmission that's made for 200 horsepower or 270 horsepower, like a turbocharger 400, and then modifying it and trying to make it handle more power. You're taking something that already can handle 4 times more power, or at least double or triple than that of the 400 for the factory, and then modifying it to handle a smidge more. Really, like the base of where you start is really important in that as well. So, yeah, the 8HP90 is a 900 Newton meter capable transmission, and they have another one, another 8 HP. Oh no, they don't call it HP on that one. They call it 8EP or EC, something like that. It's 1,200 Newton meters. It's made for diesels. But yeah, they got some autos that are made for some power from the factory with these globally patented gear designs that are extremely efficient and are really awesome. So I really dig those transmissions. Don't like the plastic drain pans? That doesn't affect me, man. No concern. All right, let's see where I'm at. Let's go back to this here. Take this diamond graph, put it down. Don't need to see that because right now we're trying to this guy. Let's move this one up. There we go. So this thing's just been idling here the whole time while I've been yapping. See where our lambdas are at. So I got 10% correction here idle while we're sitting. Okay. Now my VE is kind of high. I'm in the 60s here, and it's 10% correction. So either I need to tweak my injector settings. I need to raise fuel pressure, or I need to adjust fuel density, or I need to adjust cooling effect, charge cooling efficiency, or my charge temperature graph. So let me just look and see what we got going on. Okay, so this is wrong here. This that's a little low. That's correct. That's fine. That's fine. This is a little high for our fuel. Our fuel's a smidge lighter than that typically, but it changes based on season, so that's a good middle point. So they go above that and below that. But if I said that the fuel was heavier, say if I had 0.75, then that would start to lean it out some too, because that tells it, oh, the fuel's heavier. You get more of it when you inject it, so shorten your pulse width up. But that very small change at all. My guess is going to be that I need to adjust my injector settings because I just really quickly tossed them in there without even looking at. Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. That's the problem is there, because this is on. Oh no, it's on 1050s. That's right. That's right. It's on 1050s. I kept thinking it was on 550s. Ah, here we go. Here it is. I didn't do the short pulse adder for 1050s. That is probably where it's at. Let's find out and see if I'm wrong. I'm going to pull up my 1050 work diagram. Where the hell I put it? This is the other laptop. This is my standalone laptop, so I don't always have them all in the same places, unfortunately. Here we go. 1050, 1050. 1050X link. There we go. Let's look at that. Okay, so this short pulse width adder is on increments of 0.125. So let me see if this one is also 0.125. Looks like almost the entire thing is 0.125. Let's double check. Short pulse width adder 125, 125. Yeah, that looks good. Let's just double check. Yep, all the way up. Okay, now that made my problem worse because it's pulling fuel down there instead of adding fuel. But that's the right data. So let's start with the right data and then tweak from there what we need to tweak. Okay, dead times. Is that correct? No. Wow, that's actually going to go even worse. 6, 7, 8. Let's see. Let's set up at 7, 8, 9 to 20. Oh, I'm not going that high. This is going to make me more pissed off here. Bedtime. I'm going to start from 7. Give me a second. Let me put this in. Bloop. Now it's even leaner and meaner. 8.5. Wow, 16, huh? Do I have 16? Nope, no 16 on this one. Okay, now she's more angry. And then I was thinking backwards with this before, because really I need to be lighter, because then it knows it has to add more duty cycle because it was adding, not pulling. So a little bit of that. And then injectors, 1050s. Are they actually 1050 though at this pressure? At 2, these are at 2 what? Yeah, so 1065 even. Man, I'm 1065. That's even higher. Everything's making a leaner on me. That's really high. Should be down like the high 50s area. I'm just going to linearize this for now. I'll do some blending and smoothing in a little bit. All right. Is this a 2.5? I mean, it shouldn't be a 2.5, but is my map sensor right? That looks a little low. Let's double check that. Oh no, I must have interference, no problem. It's just got a lot of vacuum. Ooh, that turbo sounds like it's bad. That's not a good sign. I don't know if you guys can hear that when it comes down. That's not a good sign at all. Stimulate ratio. Oh, it's actually 14.13 because we're on 10% ethanol. That'll make a difference. And yeah, that's it, really. That's all I really should have to adjust. And all I did was make it worse. Come on, stop it. Okay. I should double check if this got a 2.5 liter in or not. Still seems kind of lean. Let me find out. Oof. My back's killing me. Cold air. Okay. It is not a 2.5. All right, well, the question is then, which way do I want to go about fixing this? 70% VE at idle is just not freaking happening. So either these injectors aren't flowing what they're told, the latency isn't what it's supposed to be, the dead time's a smidge too low, something is causing it to be lean, right? Not getting enough fuel. 925, how's this again? What's that getting to? 926. Oh, wow, that's tiny steps. Oh, it's tiny steps because my button's not working. That's why. Oh, okay, that was a big step. All right, here we go. Just do one little step. A little bit in the latency. That's that fuel model my friend was talking about. He was like, I like the links, I just don't like the fuel model. And I'm like, yeah, I understand. There's some shortcomings in it for sure. Oh, I'm an idiot. See, look at it. I screw up. I do it on just for you guys, so you can see it. I have 2 fuel maps turned on this car. I don't need that. And so one's an idle map. I was adjusting this map and nothing was happening because this isn't the idle map. This is the idle map. And that was way low. Oh, look at that. All right, so let's put this where it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be like 56 or so on stock cams, 56 to 58, somewhere in that range. So we're going to be on stock cams pretty happily. And then yeah, look at that. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. All right, so let's bring that dead time back down some. Back to where it was. I hit this once. Just did a little bump on it right there. Yep. That's back down. So now we're at 4%, 3%. All right, right in that range. Let's go to the idle map because that's what smart guys would do. But unfortunately, you guys have to watch me tune. All right, like that. Right about there. And sure enough, that fixes it. Okay. What else we got? And those are all the way they should be pretty much. Let's do a tip in. Tip in was good. That was nice. And you can watch over here, it switched fuel maps. When you tip in, it goes to this table, this map here. And that actually aids the tip in a little bit because it anticipates the pressure change. Yeah, this turbo's not good. That sounds pretty bad. Listen, at the end of the rev, as it comes down, listen to what you hear. You hear it? Like it's like there's an owl stuck in this thing. Usually that's a bad turbo. Is this a new turbo or old turbo?
Brand new turbo.
Brand new turbo. You hear it?
I don't hear it, but my hearing's not the best.
Yeah, you also got those fans blowing. I don't have them blowing my ear. So I'm concerned about that, about that noise. Was it a weird blow-off valve on here?
I
forgot.
Stock.
I thought so too, because I didn't fucking stand out when I popped the hood a second ago.
I'm pretty sure it's stock.
That usually means the turbo's going out.
It's a brand new turbo.
Yeah. You want to listen on that side and see if it sounds like it's coming from the turbo from somewhere else?
So I'm listening for something at the end of the rev.
Yeah.
I don't really hear anything up there.
Oh, okay. Put your head inside here. I'm going to do it. And if you hear it.
Oh, the little
Yeah, you hear that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Usually that's a turbo going out.
I mean, there's a little.
But it's brand new, and it's never been boosted, and it's run for like 2 hours.
There's a little bit of a whining noise, like maybe from a belt or something. I don't think it's turbo.
Okay. Alrighty. Hey, Gustavo. How is your air-to-water intercooler car turning out? How is your intercooler car turning out, Mark? That's what I want to know. How's yours turning out? And did you make me one? That's what I want to know. Oh, you're right. I totally forgot about that. I totally forgot, Justin. Customer's not listening. In the last week, we've had 2 customers who ignore what we say, and then months later, they're upset at what happens. Customer 1, I tried to tune the car back in September. Wasn't working out correctly. Things weren't right. Informed the customer, informed Tier 1, all of that. Doesn't get fixed. Comes back in for some more work, for something else. That's not addressed. Annotates on the work order. If this car continues to be driven, it will fail because these things are not being addressed. Customer calls today. Hey, why is my car broken? All that stuff that's on that fucking work invoice there that we told you to address that you never addressed. That's why. And it happens really often. Twice this week. So I don't understand. Like it's like they think, oh, they're just trying to take my money. They're just trying to get money. I mean, we're going to take your money when it fails because you weren't listening. But we're definitely not trying to take your money. That's not definitely not dishonest like that here. And but people, they just don't listen. It's written right there on their work order, on their invoice, in the notes. Continue operation of this vehicle will result in engine failure. They can't get much more plain than that. Let's see, 3170, okay. Oh, I smell oil. I see oil. First time this thing's made any RPM, so I'm sure the headers are hot, but this looks like a continuous stream of oil. Yeah. So the tire? It smells like rubber or brakes. Oh no, it's the turbo. There's oil dumping out of the turbo. Or that's exhaust axle boot. There's shit running down the downpipe. Is that axle boot or is that oil from the engine?
I don't know. It didn't have any leaks when we ran it the other day. It might be axle boot.
Whatever it is, it's
It doesn't smell like it smells like grease.
right. It doesn't smell like oil. It's like rubber or plastic.
Crack that upper line and make sure there's oil getting to it.
Okay, because you heard about what I was talking about.
Yeah.
The woo.
Yeah. I was back there. My something's burning. Yep. I walked through the door and it was just smoke billowing out the bottom of the car. And I was like, it's on fire. I'm coming to fix it. It's on fire.
It's too late. I'm too late. Yeah, it doesn't look like oil. It might be that axle boot.
One time I was back there on my computer typing up an estimate, almost exactly the same scenario. And I just hear, fire! And I'm like, I look over at Tanner, I'm like, did he just yell fire?
Did you got fire?
No. And I'm like, that's weird, but he shut the car off really fast. I was like, I'm gonna go check. I come again, just hosing the paint out. I'm like, oh no, it was on fire.
All right, so can you reach it with that wrench?
I can.
Okay, you want me to crank it? Or are you just going to crack it open and see what happens?
I got it cracked.
Because I could turn off the injectors.
Just give it a bump. Yep, I'm trying to tighten as fast as I can. It's going to be a smoky one. It's plenty of oil, though.
Grab a flashlight and look at that bottom side of that downpipe. My phone flashlight ain't cutting it.
Yeah, I know. Looking like the axle boot. The drain tube, despite me just feeling oil all over it, is not. So, I would let it idle for a little bit. The turbo is boiling. Try not to do any twists.
Ready? I lost connection. Battery. Negative loose. Positive loose. I lost everything.
How about now? Mechanic. We'll make a big.
You said do that?
Don't do it.
fans. Got some text messages out of the ways, guys. All right, this is what we got. That's the first thing to do with customers like that. Lots of people that kind of inflated egos out there. Maybe they're just playing out. Dude, it's bad. It's crazy. Another one happened. This kind of shit happens all the time too. I got one customer who is interesting. He's an interesting person, and he took his car to a different shop because it was closer to his house. It's like 5 miles, 10 miles or something. Ain't that much closer. And then the guy troubleshot the car, and because it's been having boost control problems, which I told him, yo, dude, you have boost control problems. You need to fix it. So the guy says, yeah, the wastegate's gone bad. I think the diaphragm failed in it, he said. And the thing was covered in oil. So my guess is oil got into the open cap and just deteriorated the diaphragm because they don't like to have a lot of oil on them for a long period of time. Anyways, the guy's like, it's only got 20,000 miles on it. But the thing's had an oil leak forever, and it's just dumping all over this wastegate. And so then he's like mad at Tier 1 because they sold him a defective wastegate. What? And says, the other guy says you gave me a defective wastegate. And the other guy's like, no, I said your wastegate failed, and that happens on those things all the time. But guys are like, some of them just, they want shit for free. They have no accountability for their own car. Oh, wow, that fucking clutch is way up there. And it sucks because then those types of people go online and be like, oh, these guys screwed me because they gave me this bad X or Y, and it's nowhere near the truth, but, drama on the internet. Everyone loves that shit. So, all right. So this one's got I think it's a 16 GXT, 1050s, 205, Link G5. I did the calibration for the TAC, but we're going to go to a lower speed here and work on the VE map because I haven't done that yet on this car. I've only been doing just some general stuff. So right now we're going to lock this thing at this mile per hour and see where we're at. Okay. Negative. Well, that makes sense because look right here and see that it's negative. In fact, I probably forgot to hit store earlier. Okay, now you guys remember my rule of thumb, right? I want 3 to 5% rich. That's always my goal in these areas on these cars, all the way across the board, right? I want it to be 3 to 5% rich so that if it goes open loop on it for some reason, I know I got enough fuel. And 3 to 5%, you're not hurting anything. There's nothing wrong with that at all. That's way closer than most carburetors run. So getting at 3 to 5% on the rich side on the VE table is money, in my opinion. That's what I do, and that's what I will continue to do. Now, I anticipated that. I mean, there's an 83 and then a 93 jump right there. So clearly, that is not going to be the right ratio, the right amount there. There we go. Let's go a little more load. I anticipate a big jump there too again. It's not going to go to 94% all of a sudden. Here we are about atmospheric pressure. We're looking about 5% here. I'm going to take a little smidge less. And right here. And this guy's got to come down. All right, there's 3 to 5%. Let's see if I can add more load. How much more load can I get out of this 16G right here? Fully loaded. What's that coolant temp? 93. Good to go there. Fans are blasting. Air fuel is negative 10 right there. Still way too much right here. Let's pull some more down. That actually has gone down a lot more. That's potentially going to be a little bit of reversion here. That's causing it to breathe worse here, this increase in load. Surprising though, honestly. Let's back it off some and see what we get, what happens. Yeah, that's crazy if you think about it. Right now, my 83% is only 3% off at 80% of atmospheric pressure. And now with a little bit of positive pressure, 86% is still too much. That seems weird to me. That seems weird. Why would 86% be too much? Why would 86 be too much if I have positive pressure? Positive pressure, like 120 kPa, when atmospheric pressure is 92, like that should be 100 and something percent VE right there, not 80. That's some serious reversion for that to happen. $14.13, that's what our stoichiometric ratio is going to be. 9 C's is about what that cooling coefficient should be. And it can go up and down based on the fuel type, and it should and will, especially if you're on a multi-fuel system, but we're not. This is not ethanol. Fuel pressure sensor is doing its job. Density, this might be a little low because I did drop it a little bit earlier when I was fighting with that stuff. But if I change this, then it's going to get even worse here at idle. Like right now, it's already pulling fuel at idle. Oh, no, that's right. This is the right direction. Yeah, that's the right direction. Okay. Now it's adding fuel to idle. And idle's what? What do I got it set at? 55, 56, 59. Okay. Still 86 at 120 kPa. Well, it is a fixed cam 2-liter with no AVCS, so I guess that's not that hard to believe with a fixed cam 2. Still, though, I still think it should be a little higher than that. But we'll do some other zones and see what we get. If other zones reveal the same trend, then it is what it is. But, man, that just seems... that seems like it's not enough. Okay, let's go down. Let's go down to gear up at a higher RPM. I would totally expect that to be rich, and it is. Here we've got 5%. Pretty much right at 5%. I'm going to pull one more point out. Add some more load. 6%, a little richer. Let's pull this down. Ease up on the load for a second. Okay, let's do it again. Get it up there. We're just breaking atmospheric pressure here. 10%, that's expected. I got a big old ramp right there. Let's go up here again. 5, 6, 7, 8, 7 to 8%. Not terrible. Percent, 3%. Let's go higher. Couple pounds of boost. 8%. All right. Really? Man, that is just a low VE number for that much boost. That does not make sense. I mean, we're talking, now we're almost $4,000. That thing should be getting a lot closer to a very efficient zone and having no problem moving air. I mean, it sounds great, it feels great, but these VE numbers just aren't quite making sense. I'm not a fan of that. So at some point, we're going to hit a crown, and then it's going to fall down. Don't know where that point is yet, but there is a point where we'll hit a crown, and we'll see the map kind of shift. Just some quick changes real quick. Hit that zone, and then make some tweaks. Let's move this up to a slightly higher RPM. That was really close right there at 96. Still 10% too rich right there. Stinks in here. Smoke and grease and burn everything. The most challenging thing workers is when they are not honest about the problem. Yeah. And it's not always their fault, but it can turn a 2-hour job into a couple of days of work. Yeah, honesty about the problem is a big thing too, because a lot of them, like I said, are led to believe that every shop is just out to get them, so they don't tell you everything. Or if they don't want to admit what they did, and then they leave out critical information, that led to the failure, well, that sucks, because how are you supposed to troubleshoot if you don't know what actually happened? So that sucks. Hey, Steven. Hey, Dom, I run my diesel truck 20% rich roll coal. Yeah, right? One for a radiator. 22-year-old plastics can take me kneeling on them when refitting turbo and manifold. Where is he heading the percentage from? Okay. Steven, so for you, I'm assuming you're a bug eye or something. Just get a Koyo for a bug eye and you'll be good to go for that. The percentage, I'm reading my correction, my closed loop correction. It's going to be really small on your screen. You're not going to see it very well. But I'm just seeing what closed loop correction it needs to hit the target that I set for it. And so that's what I'm using as my percentages I'm talking about. How'd the job interview go? Well, I was told I got it. And then 5 days ago, I was told that I would get my offer letter. And I haven't got it yet. So let's see. Anything new? Or sorry to invite you to join. No, not that. Plans require finance in the near future. Yeah, it is a spam. Report spam. Bloop. Yes, block. Okay. I need a tune. 19WX Combo SF If you have any availability for me to come in and get a tune after the 29th. Okay. And this guy sent me another email. We can get a tune access port. Okay, so he sent me 2 emails. All right. I appreciate that he tried. I wish he'd have called me instead of just emailing twice. After the 29th, I will be gone for a while. And nope, no offer. I don't see my offer letter in here. So my link G4 V numbers up top on what feels like high V numbers down low. Runs mint though. I've seen that on a couple links so far. Yeah, I don't know. That's what I was saying. My friend and I were talking about the fuel model, and there's multiple types of fuel models on the link as well. So if you look right here in this fuel setup, you see this modeled section. You could change that from modeled to traditional. Traditional is going to be not even technically a V number. It's just going to be an index number. That's a percentage of what you have. Your master injection number down here somewhere, which isn't shown here because this is not modeled. So if you're not in the modeled one, you're going to get a different value. So there's that. There's also slight differences in the way the load is measured, right? This is supposedly a factory map sensor, and it looks like that looks a little high, unless today's just a high pressure day. Let's find out. Let's do the map sensor calibration. It was a tiny bit high. That was it. Okay. So there's that aspect of it, like how you do it. But also the IAT is important, right? The IAT, where it's placed and all of that. This one should be, I might have it, maybe that's my problem. Maybe I got that wrong. Let's double check. This one is set for a Delphi AC, which is AC Delco. And this one has I see it sensor. I can't see what it is. It is yeah, that's the one. My hand's stuck. So it's got the AC Delco sensor on it. So that's the right calibration. So things like that will affect the way it's reading. If someone put that in a weird place, I get that sometimes. Some guys will put those in bizarre locations, like in the intercooler, but off to the side. Or not use one. They won't have an intake air temp sensor post intercooler. They only have it in the MAF. And if it's only in the MAF, that is definitely cause you problems if you have a link on a EJ255 without having IAT in the right spot. That'll cause problems. So, yeah. So it just depends on a bunch of factors. What your stoichiometric ratio is in your tune, for example. Like I was just doing that. I'm seeing that's the wrong button. I was showing how that affects it here, because if I put this at 14.7, it's going to lean it out. But it's not 14.7 because right now we're on 10% ethanol. It's 14.13. So that'll change it. This will change it. This is basically how well the fuel cools the intake charge as it enters. So as your amount of mass goes up of fuel, it'll cool the charge more, and that's supposed to compensate for that. So if this is off, that will definitely cause your issue there too. If that's wrong. And then the fuel density, if that's wrong, that'll do the same. So all of those got to be pretty close. Unfortunately, our fuel density is a guess without testing it, and it changes from station to station and everything else, and season to season. So without testing your density, you don't really have a good way of knowing what that is. So it's one of those variables where you got to just kind of guess, unfortunately. Oh, and that sucks. None of us want to guess. So at least I don't want to guess. I don't like having to guess. I'd like to know for sure what it is, but it just isn't an option for me. Hello? No. Not just no, but go fuck yourself. Nope, not that one. I want this one. This zone, I'll never hit this zone. Like, what am I going to be? 4 pounds of boost at less than idle. That's not going to happen. So for here, just smooth it out some. Never find that freaking zone. Let's find this zone right here. That's a big old spike. Let's see if that tracks or if that's too much. So I want this 1700 zone here. There we are. Whoops. Unselected on me. Alright, let's back off the load here. See where the fuel goes. A little rich right there. Some riches is going to happen while you're backing off because you're going to take fuel from the puddle and stick it right in the cylinder. So you will get a richness when you back off the throttle. You got to let it sit for a second to see how rich it is. Let's try that zone now. Let's try this 140 or this 180, like 3,000. See if we can get in there. I don't know if we can or not. Try and get that boost on it there. Can't quite reach it. Can't quite get there right there. Not enough turbo for that. Never gonna hit that zone. Just try and make it look not as ugly. That's my only goal there. All right, let's try and hit. I want to hit this zone one more time. Make sure I got this right. Okay, so now I got a a little bit of tip in I can work on. Now that the fuel map is closer, the tip in is a smidge late. Okay. It feels really good though. But looking at the trace, I see it's a smidge late. So I'm going to my Excel enrichment here. Let's look at my sensitivity table, what I got it set at. Pretty low, 3.8, pretty low. And that's good, because that means I'm using a lot of it from the asynchronous enrichment there, which is just a wall weighting compensation, essentially. Oops, I don't want that. See how it tips a smidge lean there when I do it. Just a little smidge lean direction there on my tip in. So I can bump this up. I'll actually bump this down, probably a good idea. Let's go to 0.9 there. 0.9 probably help out. Yeah, I don't want to do much more than 35%. You usually don't have to do much more than that. If you do, that can result in some rich spots other places. I mean, it feels snappy as shit. Like, it feels really good. I like that. All right, I like everything I'm seeing. Got my boost here. Turn my waste heat cycle down to 0 now. Oh, maybe not. Let's see what we got. 35. We'll just do outside the target now. I want stage 2-3. So I like 2-3. What I'm going to do is turn this down to 20 real quick. Like that. And that way I can just cap it off and not get too much boost on a little test. Little test pole, low boost. Let's go to the graph. Let's bring this stuff back to normal. Oh, I'm not using that for wideband, that's right. I have my wideband on board here. So I'm not using this. 350. And this guy here, our 350. Okay. There we go. Let's do a little slow boost. Well, those tires are way out of balance. And this whole place is on fire. That's a lot of smoke. Okay, throttle, TPS. Yeah, when did this boost come in? Late. Wow, that's crazy. That's really. So, exactly 14 pounds. Boost looks really nice, honestly. And air fuel, watching that, it's rich as shit. 7.2, 7.2, 7.2, so plenty of fuel. That's pretty good. And then, where'd all my stuff go? Oh, I updated the software and it erased my logger. 12 degrees. Stupid conservative. 10 degrees. 11 degrees. All right. There you go. See? That's why you do base maps. Ultra conservative. Ooh, but look at that. Fuel pressure. Tanking. That's not good. Maybe fuel pump speed's not accelerating. That is not good. Let's make this 90. Yeah, that should totally be working. That should be working. That is not good news. That is bad news. That looks to me like the high speed on the fuel controller is going out or something. Or it's got a stock pump. I bet it's got a stock pump in it. You ever put the fuel pump in this car?
Huh?
You ever put the fuel pump in this car?
Sure. I sure did.
My 14 pounds of fuel pressure says you didn't. All right.
You want to hot swap the fuel pump real quick?
All right. I got a little wave at idle here, a little wiggle. I want to see if that's my idle control being too aggressive or what. Let's see. 35% is pretty solid, so it's not going to be the idle motor causing that wiggle. But you see we got this 75 RPM wiggle going on, so it's not going to be that. Ignition target is 11. That's pretty standard for a 2-liter. We got a maximum clamp of 27 and a -5. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's still wiggling a lot. Where's my current ignition advance at idle here? We're down in single digits, so that makes me think that I need a little bit less duty. And see where minimum set at. Is it minimum set at 35? Is that why? Yep, that's why. Let's do that. Let's go 29. There we go. We'll drive that bitch down. There we go. Now look at that. Look how close. That's much closer target. I like that. Drove itself down nicely. Now we're having right at that target. Okay, good rev. Nice dash block. Nice turn to idle. All right, that looks really good. That is really, really good. Happy with that. Let's go back to ignition. I'm gonna take a peek at it. You see the jitter's pretty good, but that's intentional. So let's log that real quick. I'm gonna show you. Boop. All right. So now we go here and we look, and here's the timing. And we got this sawtooth going on right here. And you see the idle is going a little. You see it just kind of hunting around here. So this sawtooth is because of the derivative component being aggressive, trying to push the idle back to where it's supposed to be, like immediately from the time it starts to depart from its zone. So if I do this and put this at 0, it'll put us only into a proportional idle control, and then we'll log that real quick and I'll show you. Do a proportional idle control. And now that sawtooth isn't nearly as much of a sawtooth. It's just a straight response. Look at that. See, it doesn't get to have that down, up repeatedly. It's just up like that, little spikes. So now it's just based on the error alone. It's only based on the error at this point. And our error is not bad right now, but under situations where it's moving and the RPM is changing, so if I do this, and then I do that, now you'll see the idle see, I'll show you in a second once this crams up a little bit. Cramming your cram hole of fluor. So you see here this idle ignition timing locks in at 11, which is the base, until it comes down within range of the idle. And then you see it start to pull immediately. Oh, because the idle started to come back up a smidge. So it pulls down and then lowers and then sits here around the target, up, down like that to try and keep it smoother. But there's still a little bit of a hunt to it. Unfortunately, because I revved it, the scale is wrong. Let's see if I do this. I'm going to log later, so the scale's not as high. If that helps any, it did not. There's still too much. But anyways, you see how that sawtooth shape changes. Now, if I add a bunch of derivative to it again, oh, that's a ton of derivative right there. We'll do that. And then we'll see what the log looks like. Actually, let's take out some proportional too. Let's go to 0 proportional. Now, what this will do is this will sit it around 11, and when the RPM departs from target, then the derivative will respond. So it'll respond to the changes and the speed of the change, but it won't respond to the difference from target, if that makes sense. That's what derivative does, right? It reacts to the speed that the crankshaft is moving, or the acceleration of the crankshaft, not the speed. It's the acceleration factor. And so you can hear it. It's oscillating right now. Right here, see the RPM oscillating there? All right, it's because the timing's only reacting to the velocity. Sorry, I said again, the acceleration of the crankshaft. And look at that. Everything's just waving. So we don't want that. We want something that's based on the error, and we want something that's based on the acceleration so that it helps to stabilize the idle. One, to stabilize it by, if it goes to depart from our target, it goes, whoa, changes timing. Or as it's away from our target, it changes timing. So here we are now with that new setting. Now what you're going to see here is that wave is gone, but also this axis, this is only 30 RPM. This was 102 or 200 RPM before, and we're getting that wave. Now this is only 30 RPM on this axis. Or 40 RPM there. So, like, that's hardly a change. And you even see that it measured in such small steps. The engine speed, it changed such small steps that it looks blocky now instead of that wave that we had as it was hunting. But you can see the timing here is very aggressive. All right, it's going up to 24 here, -3 there, -5 there, 28 here. Now the timing's super aggressive and bouncing all over the place. And that's okay. But sometimes they'll get a little too bouncy, and you'll hear it in the idle. It'll change tone. Boop, 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 kind of these random things like that. And you'll catch that in the log, or in the audible. You'll hear it. So, and this number here, this already looks like it's going crazy, right? When you have a high derivative, it goes really crazy. So now back to about where it was. All right, now hardly any -5s in here, or not even any zeros. We never did negative at all, actually. Look at that. That's all right around target of 11. Plus, quick pops up to keep it if it starts to go up or down, keep it going up. And when it's getting high, the timing's coming down here. The average you see dropped, and all that. So now what we have is that's 40 RPM band. That's a solid idle. 40 RPM is a real solid idle. Good luck getting that and other stuff. So. That's how you do that. Accounting for fuel temp, and the fuel model is pretty neat too. Yeah, if you have IT, the math is cursed big time. Yeah, I hate IT, the math. It's a bean counter thing. It's not a be reliable and good thing. Fuel temps in the fuel model is pretty. Yeah, if fuel temp's in the fuel model, it's not though. You got to add fuel temp compensation yourself. You got to add that on a 4D. It doesn't have that, unfortunately. It just has the change that the fuel does on the air tank. Is what this does. So the fuel has a latent heat of vaporization, and this is what you're saying. For every so many grams, that fuel that vaporizes, it will drop your charge temperature by 9 degrees Celsius. Is basically what it's saying. I don't know the exact equation for this, but it's, basically grams per degrees kind of thing. Let's see if they tell us what it is. See, cooling effect of the evaporation of the fuel that it has on the air temp charge. So, again, the latent heat vaporization, the fuel evaporates, it cools off. And you know that. You spill gas on your hand gets cold. You spill ethanol on your hand gets really cold, right? And that's what this is saying. This is saying for fuel, you're going to get 9. And this says typical is 10 for gasoline. Okay. So it could be a little better. It could be 10 for gasoline. And then for ethanol, you're going to be higher, like 16. Is what it's saying. Now that will richen up my higher NVEs now, because I'm putting more fuel in the cylinder and my air temp is hotter from the turbo. So now the fact that I did that will cause it to, oh no, that's not true. That will make it add more fuel on its own. Yeah, that'll add more fuel because it'll say, oh, I'm cooling the charge off this much more. So they add fuel automatically. So that would make those VE numbers read even lower, which is not what I wanted to do. But anyways. So yeah, unfortunately, they don't really have. Tuning this setting also relies heavily on accurate injector information. Yeah, especially for being an idle, right? That's going to be very important. And they tell you how you can change it, what to do. As you richen up the mixture, you change this number so that the richer mixture, so that your target hits those points. Because then if it under or overshoots, then that means that it's anticipating more cooling. Because it's kind of a weird cycle if you think about it, right? It's going to say, okay, I have this much air, I got to shoot fuel into it. How much fuel? 0.2 grams. Okay, 0.2 grams of fuel. Well, hold on a second though, but that's going to cool the air charge how much? Well, that's going to cool the air charge 30 degrees, so my density actually went up. Oh, so my density went up, then that means I actually have this much fuel in it, or this much air in it, so I got to have a little more fuel, right? It's kind of what it's doing. And then, but then you had that cycle. Oh, well, now it's cooling even more. So how they implement that, I'm not totally sure, because it feels like it'd be a little circular. There's got to be some feedback state on that. But that's the general idea of what's going on there. Here's the fuel equation mode. Where they talk about all the stuff that goes into it. Charge temp estimate, fuel charge cooling, which is what we're talking about right now, is the fuel charge cooling, the VE table, the load equation, all that stuff. Anyways, I think the fuel model could use a little work on it, but overall I still really like the system. It's not the most accurate model, but it's pretty darn good. And for the money, like, you cannot beat this system. This system is, it's the best one for the money by far. I love this system for that. I swear I've added this table a couple times now. Okay. This link support direct injection part injection. It will do both, yes. As Elijah says, there's DI driver available for the link on the G5 stuff. And they have a plug-and-play unit for the BRZ that has both on board. So if you buy the plug-and-play unit for the BRZ or FRS, it does support both, yep. And if you buy the G5 Voodoo standalone unit, it will talk to the DI driver. You can't use the DI on the plug-and-play ones for the WRXs because it's a G4 based. And they don't talk. One second.
You ready?
Yeah, are you? Are you?
Yep.
Oh yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah.
Let me hit store. Let me hit save. Owens. There we go. Save. Yes. So again, yeah, the G5 stuff will run the DI driver. Now the issue with the link thing is that the DI driver only works with 4. So if you want to do a 6-cylinder, like a VR6 or a 2GR, you need 2 of those DI drivers, and that sucks because they're like $1,000 each or whatever. So that's unfortunate. But supposedly we might be able to make the ECU Master one work with other ECUs. So I'm going to buy an ECU Master DI driver and play with it and see if I can make it talk to other ECUs. I'm going to try with Link. I'm going to try with Nematron. Kind of want to try with a Max ECU to see if it'll work. I don't know if they have their own, but because I want to do some 8HP shenanigans. So there's a few things that I want to do in the future, but before I do that, I got to finish the projects I currently have, which is already too many for me to ever finish in my lifetime, so I'll never do it. I have to tell myself that sometimes just to keep myself from buying something else. Like I saw a car today, I'm like, oh, I want to go buy this car. Paired injection DI4 to feed. No, that you can't do that. You can't batch fire DI. That would be you'd be firing the DI injector into a cylinder that's combusting. So, I mean, if you want to make it a diesel, yeah, technically you can probably do it with a diesel, although we need higher pressure. I think the 2700 is going to give you the flow you need, but we could make it a diesel. That's totally doable. Anything's possible by general ideas. I mean, that would be a hell of an experiment. Let's run it really lean initially and then add some afterwards to see what happens. Yeah, I think about diesel, right? Like, versus DI versus port injection. Let's do all 3 of those. So, all 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's do all 3 of those. So, diesel, port, and gasoline DI. Okay, so gasoline port. I have 720 degrees of cycle to stick fuel behind that valve, essentially, or into the cylinder between. So, like, if I had my end of injection happen right before the injector opens or right before the injector shuts, I basically have 720 degrees to put fuel in that cylinder, right? I have lots of time. So my injectors don't have to be very big, and my fuel pressure doesn't have to be very high. Lots of time to do it. All right, let's go gasoline direct injection. Now I have about 200 and something degrees to do it. Over that, I start to impinge on the piston. I start injecting fuel too early. I'm hitting it right at the crown of the piston. Like, I'm impinging the piston, which over time will erode the aluminum and that kind of thing. Or if I'm injecting too late as it's moving towards TDC and I just hang that injector open to right before the spark event, then I can also potentially impinge on the piston there too, because, for 20 degrees before TDC, that piston's barely moving. It's at the top, right? That crank is swinging over. And that piston's already at the top, just sitting there. So you're just pounding that piston with fuel. But I still got like 270-ish, right? I still got enough degrees to put some fuel in there. But now let's talk about diesel. Yeah, you got like 90 degrees. Right? Because you got to put a little bit in before it gets to TDC. And then you can't put too much in because it'll just blow the heads right off it. So you got to put a little bit in. And the way they do it now with modern stuff, they have what's called pilot pulses. They have a up to 3 on some cars, pilot pulse. So they shoot, main load. Okay? So that shoot is to get a combustion event started as the piston's moving up towards TDC. Just one little poof to get a combustion started and to warm that whole area up. And then a second one to keep it going before it burns all out. Another one to keep it going as it reaches TDC. And it gets really close to TDC, then the main load. And sometimes a post one too. But the main load then. Then the main load's going to happen, and then it's going to start moving away from TDC, and it's going to be burning. They want to have like 50% burns close to TDC or shortly after, within 10 degrees of TDC, and then the rest of it burns on the way down. So I'm injecting in a very short window. And that's why, and these things operate at low RPM, and they have high cylinder pressure to make a lot of torque. So not only we got to inject into a high pressure cylinder, I only have 90 degrees or so to do it. Like I gotta inject that fuel now, and that's why these things have such high pressure. And I'm injecting fuel in some of these while it's burning. Well, all of them really. Like there's the initial pulse not burning, but then the second, third, pilot, and the main bulk, it's already burning in the cylinder. I'm injecting fuel into a combustion cylinder, so the pressure's already going up. And so I need more pressure to get it in, and higher flow and more pressure to get in that short-ass 90 degrees of time. And 90 degrees might be generous, honestly. I don't really know. I've never looked at the actual window of a diesel, like when it is, but it can't be much because that pilot pulse happens close to TDC, and you can't inject a bunch after TDC because it's a waste at that point. You're totally wasting the fuel. So most of that event happens when that piston is near TDC, which is crazy too because we talk about impingement of the piston. Well, if you look at the shape of a diesel piston, you can see that they knew that. The diesel pistons have huge pockets, right? Usually a little cone in the middle and a huge pocket where that spray is coming in. And that's to get the piston away from that nozzle, to keep from just going, hitting on that nozzle, hitting on the piston, I mean. So you get that big pocket so that cone pattern that the injector is shooting in there isn't just banging on the aluminum crown of the piston. Yeah. So yeah, that's one thing to think about, is how much time do I have for all this to happen? And then what does that do to my cooling, right? There's an effect of that. And what does it do to my charging? If I have 720 degrees and I put the fuel in early, then the fuel has more time to evaporate, more time to contact stuff, and cool the charge before it enters the cylinder. Whereas with DI, you do it as you're charging the cylinder. That has the benefit of with DI, you're injecting while you're inducting, where with most of the ports, you're injecting prior to your induction. And you're relying a little bit on the air moving by the fuel in the walls to evaporate it off the walls and pull it in the engine as well, not just what's sitting on the back of the valve, right? It hits the back of the valve and evaporates and all that. And that happens so quickly that, you don't get as good because you're dealing with these pulses. You shoot it in there, that's it. And it's in a stagnant airstream compared to on a DI motor, the valve is open, you're spraying fuel and the air's coming in as the piston's moving down. So you're getting that more constant exposure to the air. And with the DI injectors, they can aim the jets the way they want. And if you look at the Toyota paper on the 2GR system, for example, they show you where they aim the fuel in that cylinder, and you can tell where they aim it to address hot pockets and where they aim it to address the air coming in, and how they do it to promote tumble in the cylinder and all that. So if you look at the 2GR FSE to FSX or FXE, whatever it was, the upgrade they did just recently on it, they changed the 4DS system dramatically. I say dramatically. They tout it like it's dramatically, but it's not that dramatic. It's like 15% different here and there and 5% different here and there and that kind of thing. But they changed the way the fuel was sprayed in the cylinders to address those zones, but also to facilitate their Atkins and Miller cycles that the engine is supposed to be able to do, both those cycles. But yeah, so with the DI, you can aim the fuel at specific parts of the cylinder. And in F1, they do that. They aim the fuel at the spark plug. They little jet, and they spray it at the spark plug, and the spark plug's got a little cage in it so that it catches the fuel and ignites it and then shoots the fuel out in these jet streams out the cylinder to increase the combustion speed. And that was a system designed and patented by Mahle, Mahle. They did that jet ignition setup. So with one DI injector, they have like a mist that goes out, several sprays around the cylinder, but then a specific one or two, they go right into this little pocket that the spark plug sits in, so that when it ignites, it just shoots out really quickly and you get maximum coverage in the cylinder, like really quick, which is good for high RPM because you have a even less of a time to combust your fuel when you're at a really high RPM, like on F1 engines. So, anyways, something to think about. This is getting cold. This car's got a nice interior. It's a nice leather pack in here. I don't know whose it is. I don't think this car came with leather. This looks like an aftermarket leather kit. It's like real thick. It's really nice. The exterior is kind of hammered of the car, but this leather kit is top notch. It fits really good. There's no weird bulbuses or bumps in it or anything. I don't think it's factory. I don't think this came with this type of leather from the factory in these years. And I'm pretty sure if you had the leather, you also had the sunroof. And there's no sunroof here. It's a pretty good kit, though. Looks nice. Let me do a search and see if I can find a kit like that online real quick. 2005 WRX. Really? I hate when they do that. I know you just fired up and you're typing, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to interrupt your typing and pop a bunch of freaking windows in front of you. I know the cat skin one is pretty popular. I wonder if that's the cat. I wonder if this is a cat skin one. I wonder if there's a tag somewhere. Hey, I was wondering what kit this is.
Fancy ass seats.
Right? I was literally just talking about that in stream. I was trying to figure out if this was a Catskins kit or whose kit it was for this leather. Is it? It looks nice. Catskin leather seats. Let's try this one. That doesn't look like the same pattern. That one's not the same pattern as this catskin one. What's this one? No, 15 WX. No, it's not that. Well, they do a lot of Chevys. I wonder if they do BMWs. No, they don't. Wish they did. My wife's seat needs to be redone. It's bad shape. Wow, they got some really nice ones. Subaru Accent. Oh, Ascent seat covers. Scion. Subaru Impreza. Forester Legacy Outback WRX. There we go. Let's see what year the WRX is. Oh, this is just the FA WRX. Let's go to Impreza then. Uh, 07 and up. Now, these don't look like that at all. It's not even what the seat looks like. It doesn't look like an Impreza seat. I think that's just a generic seat. But that doesn't look like an Impreza at all. What a bummer. Yeah.
You know what I would do this
What do you mean? Oh yeah, you punch it right there.
Push something in it?
Yep. They did it for the key.
Ah, fancy.
Yep. Hmm. Shit. None of these pictures from Catskins match the seats that are in this thing. Catskin has to be custom for Subaru because they don't have anything off the shelf for us. Weird. They used to. I remember that was the biggest thing a long time ago. They were always, everyone's like, oh, I got this leather kit, the Catskins kit. It was great. The RS, that was a big thing for the RSs. But back then, the kits weren't very good back then. I remember that. They were pretty crappy. Weird shapes, and they didn't fit very well. Oh, here we go right here. This is this car. This is it right here. Leatherseats.com. This is this exact kit. Yeah. The same everything. Build your own interior. There we go. Make. I don't know where these guys are at. They got some BMW options. Oklahoma. That's the trip. I should call these guys up though. This is really nice leather. Leatherseats.com. Let's look at their Subaru offerings. $100% leather kit, $1,800 for the entire interior. That's for the whole. Everything's leather. You get the premium leather trimmed kit, where it's leather on the seating surfaces, and then vinyl on the side pieces and everything. The deluxe kit, which is the same thing with just less leather on the seating surfaces on the back, and then the 100% vinyl interior is all vinyl, no leather. Honestly, I'd probably do the deluxe, not the premium, because the premium looks like it only adds to the rear, and I don't sit in the rear much, so the difference in price, it's only $20. I'd do the premium then. The 100% leather, I don't know if that's necessarily needed for that. All the headrests and everything, but if I did, $1,800. Yeah, we'll do 100% leather. It's $1,800. One color or two tone? Ooh. How's that hit two tone? How much that raise the price? Oh, a lot.
Loaded hanger.
You preloaded one? Yeah, you pulled the bottom seat out. I totally forgot about that. You don't have to for these. Used to GRs. I totally forgot about that.
Yep. I told him too. I was like, "Can you go pop that bottom seat out?" And then he's like, "Where's the fuel pump?" I don't see it. He's talking about it right there. Oh, damn it. What? Never mind. Like, I'm off the phone anyway. So, that R34 that was here the other day, I made up a quote for wiring specialties harness and all the reliability mods.
Nice.
Get rid of his factory injectors. Get rid of his factory oil packs and igniter.
What year is it again?
98. It's a 34 GTP.
Yeah.
So 2.5 Neo. The God's RV.
The God's RV.
Crazy that the engine that everyone reveres is the one that doesn't have variable cam control.
Oh, but the Neo and all that?
Well, the 26s never had cam control, ever. In any of the series of Skyway.
Well, yeah, it's because it's a 26, dude. It's bigger than a 5. Like, there's never any, like, actual logic to this shit. They're just like, 6 is bigger than 5.
Yeah. Well, and it exclusively came in the GTR. But they made 20 Neos, RB20 Neos, they made 25 Neos.
Yeah, those little things are cool.
Yeah. I really would like to do something with 20 Neos. Just because no one does. Everyone just literally pulls them out and throws them in the garbage.
Oh, but nobody.
I mean, I can't find any info on it. I mean, people don't even really do anything with 25 Neos. Like, people do, like, Series 2 25s, which is the non-variable 25. But the 25 Neos, at least the turbo ones, the NA ones, were not very rare. But the EJ25 DOTs are kind of rare. They only came in 34 GTTs. And then some stages and shit of the same
Have you tuned any older Link ECUs with your car with Link G4 Extreme in it? Yeah, that's not that old. G4 Extreme's fine. Controlling EJ33 and M90, it's stuck in the back seat of an 87 Subaru Coupe. Oh yeah, I think I've seen that one. Yeah, that's fine. And the only thing about the G4 Extreme is it just didn't have CAN bus stuff that was any good, or if it had it or didn't have it. So everything is just 0 to 5s. That's it. Otherwise, it's a good system. Local dealer and make it for you. They make custom great seats. Gasket. Oh, okay. I'd like to find someone on Spokane to revalve the vinyl or replace the vinyl on my stock Impreza seats. I tear the piping on one part, but I love the stock 90s pattern fabric. I don't know where you're gonna find that though. You know, the speckled, spotted, striped, whatever it is you have on yours. Like it's hard to find. I don't think anyone makes that shit anymore. It's like, I don't know. It was done in the 80s, but it feels, or 90s, but it feels more 80s. It feels like the 80s hairdo and the clothing and the LA gears and the different color shoelaces and all that stuff is how those interiors feel. They feel 80s, but they're made in the 90s. Do a lot of Jeeps apparently. I mean, there's Oklahoma, I guess. Ecstasy leather collection. So nice about it. Key is off. I won't do anything like that. Because it's unplugged. It's just gonna do nothing.
I told myself on Friday I was going to do that.
What's that? Oh.
Totally. But I looked so sad when you asked me.
It's alright. There was a lot going on Friday. It was Friday. There's always a lot going on, right?
You said you reached out to ECU Masters?
I did, yes. They responded, asked me a question, I responded, and they've ghosted me. I don't understand how the Bing search works. If I click on the image, it goes to the next image. If I click on the thing that shows the link, nothing happens. What the fuck? If I click view image, this brings up a bigger image. Object not found. Oh, it's just skipping on me.
I don't know if you know this, but this is an off-road vehicle.
Dude, it's dirty as shit. The seats are nice though.
Yeah. Great interior.
You know where you got it from?
The seats?
Yeah.
I don't know. You told me.
Did you buy them from a person or from a website?
I think a guy did it.
Because this looks identical to the cut of the leatherseats.com's kit.
I think it could be.
That's why I looked it up.
Have you ever used CAT scans before?
Yes.
Back when at the diesel shop, we used it all the time. It was awesome.
Yeah, they used to have a lot of Subaru kits, but they don't have them anymore.
No? I mean, it's just a template. You think that wouldn't go away.
Yeah, but they stopped doing them for the RSs, for example.
Someone's already been in here.
Looks like a stock bump, though.
Yeah.
I don't remember there being a
No, no one's been in here. Did you look at the build date of this car? It's 1 of 01.
This car?
Yeah.
I thought it was a Blaubai.
Oh, no. That's the other one.
That's the other one, yeah. That's the black one. This one is, yeah. But when they have the Surger on there, I don't remember seeing that.
I've never seen that either. Well, and it doesn't have the mounts for the basket either.
Well, that's STI. STI had the bucket.
Oh, really?
Yep. It was only an STI thing.
Yeah, I've never seen that before.
But no filter in there, so it's right before that switch over. And I've never seen the pulse damper on it.
Yeah, neither have I. That's kind of neat.
That is neat. I like it. Now, what was the one that you loaded up?
Huh?
What was the one you loaded up?
An SDI hanger.
Oh, an STI one?
Yeah, I just needed conveniently in the back seat. That the Phillips.
Okay, what's going on here? I'd like to find someone in Spokane. Okay, instead of replacing the whole cover, just sewing a replacement patch of vinyl on the side. I could do it if I sit down on the front of the sewing machine, but other projects exist. I hear you, dude. Other projects, I find that way I have trigger errors stacking up since the coolant temp comes about 70. So when I'm turning on, that's messing with trigger sync. I seem to find a tooth logger in the old PC Link software, so I have to crawl in there and probe with no scope. Yep. Yeah. I don't think the old software had a no scope. I mean, the first thing you do is just check your threshold, see where they're even set at. Maybe somebody put them too high in the first place. That's the first thing. Second is check any filtering that they have, if they have any filtering or any of that. And the last one is if it's, you gotta check and see if it's a crank or a home error. If it's crank, then it might just need a new sensor. If it's cam or home, then it could be some thermal expansion of the bracket pushing the sensor further away from the gear or something, or just heat, raising the internal resistance of the sensor or a connecting wire, and killing your signal. But I would definitely check the thresholds. I don't have the old Link software up, obviously, but the new software, for example, it looks a little bit like this, and it's similar. So you go to triggers on the old one, trigger one, and go to your arming threshold and see where it's at. You know, some people have this like 5 or something, and then you're gonna have a hard time. It goes up too fast. And then same for trigger 2. So, check those. Check your filtering. Turn the filtering down initially. I always turn it down first to see what's going on, and not up, because frequently, how do I say this? You can induce an issue by having it too high. So go low first, and then if that gets worse, then turn it up. Those are the steps I would take on that, if you haven't done that already. And then you said it was a standalone that someone put in the back of something, so clearly they wired it themselves. So I would just verify how they did the polarity on it. Make sure that's got the correct polarity, which you would need no scope to see, because you need to build up and then drop fast. I can first check it on this, actually. I'm going to crank the engine for a second.
What's that?
I'm going to crank the engine.
Can you crank it?
I know I can. I'm telling you I'm going to.
Oh.
Let's see. Oh, scope. I don't know if this will show up on stream or not. Let me see. No, it's not showing up on stream. So I'm going to get this one. And that one.
Drop-in pumps are so nice.
All right, so we're going to hit capture and do this. Okay. So now, if you look in there, you can see right here it builds up and then drops down, right? And that's where the falling edge comes in. I wish this would let me do something with it. Ugh. The Link really missed the mark on this. I mean, I'm glad they have it, but like they missed the mark in being able to manipulate it more. So this one, you see there's a little bit of noise on it, but the key is that it builds up and then falls quick. Wow, that is really nasty. That sounds kind of nasty. Wow, that's not a very good signal. It's almost like it's over filtered or something. That waveform doesn't look like it's supposed to. I mean, I can tell what it's supposed to look like. That ain't it though. Well, let's do that. Let's change that. I'm gonna go to the filtering and see what we got. If I can turn it down and see how it behaves. Oh, I turned it on the key. We're good. Still good.
I
I only have the option to lower. So let's change this arming threshold. That's really low. Let's make this high. I'm just gonna go straight 1. I think 1 was okay. I'm looking at the graph to remember if 1 was okay. I think 1 was okay. And then I'm gonna turn the filtering to 2. See if we can get that. Fuck it. Let's go to 3 since it's just cranky. And then see if we can get that to look better, like it's supposed to look. It looks a little better. That's weird. That was not a very good looking trace. But, like I said, the key is that it builds up and then drops, builds up and then drops. Yeah, that is not very pretty.
He's like, I know it's way cheaper than having other people go buy it for me. And I was like, I'm gonna be honest, I think there's like 3 or 4 cases here that I'm probably never gonna use. He's like, there are. And I was like, I forgot what it was like to be 19 and be like this excited over shit here.
You can just go get it now. That's no fun.
Right? Dude, Matco's coming in tough though. Like, we're gonna buy miner's beer or something.
Dude, no shit. I saw that.
He said, you spend $100, I'll give you a case of beer. And Charles is like, okay.
Well, so here's the funny part is, I thought Leo was just like giving it to him.
Alright, crank this
okay,
in.
No, he's going for those felonies, brother.
But I was like, then he charged money for it. And I'm like, ooh, this is odd.
Yeah. I'm reading what you wrote there, Elijah. Well, the sensors themselves, right, they shouldn't be grounded. They should be both polarity going directly to the ECU. Sometimes they'll ground the negative and then run the positive only to the ECU, but then you get a messier signal. So they could have done that. So I would definitely check that both positive and negative are making it to the ECU, and that they used shielded wire. Shielded wire with the shield grounded, and at one end, not at both ends, at one end only, is important. If they ground at both ends, then you actually create a circuit, and you end up defeating the purpose of having a shield. But yeah, shielded at one end. All right, let's test for leaks. We have a fuel fountain in the back.
Pressure though, push the quickness.
All right, let's fire it up. Any leaks?
Nope. Put the hat back on.
I just want to say that those aren't lazy, if that's what it needs.
We have more than 14 psi fuel pressure.
Well, it only happened on the pole, so at the best time to have low pressure.
Well, I like it.
Yeah.
Right here. That's why we got that shit.
Exactly.
Did you tell all your streamers this is why it's important to have fuel pressure on it?
And it compensated too. It never went lean.
Perfect.
The Judge of Duty cycle was 68% on 1050s
Love it.
with 220 wheel.
Love it.
But it was enough to keep it rich as hell.
He was trying.
Yeah, it did good. It was, oh, my neck is killing me. This tuning today is not helping. It was 10,
Spider-Man meme.
10.8.
He's holding the end of the train. It's like ID1050 is holding back, and then it's low fuel pressure. Is the,
Right. Yeah.
is the train. There we go. That's why you tell your people it's worth the $75 sensor.
Oh, it's fucking totally worth it. The fuel pressure monitoring is good for everything.
My question is, why did they do that from the factory?
I don't know.
Most companies don't.
A lot do now, though. I mean, Subaru's got them high and low. BMW's always had high and low. Chevy's
Right.
added them in a bunch of their things, you know, like
You did have high and low.
yeah, a lot of them have it. Just Subaru didn't. Why didn't Subaru have a post intercooler IET?
It was difficult.
Because yeah, I guess just stick it in the manifold.
They did it on the FA. They put it in the manifold.
That's right, and they did it on the EJ20. They put one in the manifold,
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
but that wasn't for the ECU. It was for the intercooler system.
Yeah.
When the air got hot, it sprayed the intercooler down. But it was in there,
It was in there. I forgot about that.
so like the technology was there.
Shit out. If you plug it in, or if you hook it up wrong, it's got it still in there.
Hey,
You do a
do
207 swap.
you want to put the thing on there first?
What's that?
The foam?
I'll do it when we're off. So. Oh, I grabbed the pigtail. I'm just getting this stuff out of here. That way you can keep doing what you're doing.
Okay, appreciate it. So this guy has an STI basket in here now?
What's that?
So this guy has an STI basket in here now?
Yep.
With a little tank?
Yep.
Oh, free upgrades.
Yep. Free upgrades. I put a new O-ring in the filter too.
Holy shit.
So it's extra free.
Oh, it's got a filter in it? So now he has 2 fuel filters?
He does.
He's gonna have happy injectors.
He's gonna have happy injectors.
Alright, let's go back to this whole tuning thing. Alright, let's make sure my stuff is up, needs to be up. Why is the oscilloscope still showing on that screen when it's not up on my screen? That's really weird. I'm just going to close it. Popping up. There we go. That's good. How about this? Bring that up. Okay. Temperature has dropped now. We are at what? 53. It is raining. And that's our, yep. Okay. This is I stopped the poll at 6250. I don't have my log open anymore to verify that's true. But I do know it was rich as hell and low fuel pressure. So we'll see if the fuel pressure came back. Change nothing and do it again. That tire is so out of balance. I think it's honestly all of them. I see a bunch of mud and rocks embedded in the freaking wheels, so it is just a rocket ship. A rocket ship? That's not the term I'm looking for. A rocking ship. Like crazy. Alright, how did we go? I feel like the dyno speed is wrong. 67. Alright, what's the dyno say? 66. Okay, that's close. Close enough. That's weird. I guess where it was $7,000 up here. But nope. Unless that tack is just reading wrong a little bit, which could be. All right, stupid conservative timing again. 9 degrees of timing here. 14 pounds of boost. That's all we're at right now. That is as conservative as you can get for a freaking 2 liter. Any more conservative, it's going to start freaking misfiring. Air fuels are 7.0. 7.0 is what we got there. That's 7.0 lambda. That is was that 10.2 or something? Let me see. Is that 10? That's pretty. 14.7 times 0.7. 10.2.8. So I was close. 6.95 here. So definitely 10.2 there. Okay. So very rich. That's fine. So I have two ways I can do this. I can just grab that fuel map and jerk a bunch of it down. The target you see is 7.4. 7.4 is rich anyways. Or I can... Oh, I'm turning the heat on. That was too much. Put that down. Let's go where we are. Bloop. Man, it's only in the 90s. I'm really upset about this. I am fucking missing something. What am I missing? All right. Okay. Oops. Wrong button. Ah! This graph is going the wrong way. There we go. Okay. And let's go to my target. I don't need 7.4 anymore. That is very, very rich. But that's good for protecting. Make sure everything is good. 8.4 is too lean. You want like 7.6-ish, somewhere in that range is nice. 7.6 is a good spot. Okay, let's do it again. Oh, it's had a little time to do it. Pull the timing I had before. Bloop. Let's get up here. What's this? Is this adding 1 degree? Yes. Oh, wrong button. There it goes. Okay. That'll wake it up with no change in boost. Just lean it out some and add some timing. That's what every car wants, right? Pull this mat out from under my gas pedal. Wow, look at that gain. And like a few degrees of timing on an engine that wants it. Oh, you guys can't see it. Let's bring that up. Let's bring this up. Boom. Look at that gain right there. Same boost. Engine CC 1493. Oops, 1994. Oh, because this says 98 on it? Is that what you're talking about? I mean, 4 cc's ain't going to make a difference in that. It's 1 cc per cylinder. But, I mean, I guess that would change my VE as teams emit. So 94, is that going to be put in there? There you go. Okay. Closed loop lambda. They can add 20, it can pull 10. All right, that's good. I like that. I got no lockout. There, that's good there. Update rate is frequent. Gain control is substantial. It all looks really good. Let's look at our pull. And it took forever to get it going because it's 2 liter with no AVCS. All right, here we go. Okay, so 4,500 is when the boost finally peaks. I'm at 14 pounds, 14 degrees of ignition advance. That sounds way more like what a 2 liter likes. And you can tell by the dynograph that is the case. Look at that dynograph gain right there at 4,500. It starts to really, hit the wrong button. Yeah, the wrong button again. Let's try it again. Here we go. 45, boom, she's starting to grow immediately from down here and up top. Shoot, we added 30 horse just by pulling a little bit of fuel out and some timing. Up there, we got to 18.8. Still for a 2 liter, that ain't shit. So, super conservative there. Very happy with that. Fuel pressure is steady. Look at that. Great fuel pressure. Scam likely. Scam likely. Okay. Well, I don't want to talk to you then. You are not my friend if you are a scammer. Lame. That sucks. I wanted a better answer than that. All right, where we at? Air fuel 7.6, 7.6, 7.4, pretty much on point. But what you can see is the ECU is still pulling 10%. It is still at its maximum pulling of fuelage right here, right there. Why does it say ethanol is 20%? I think I found my problem, boys. I think I found the issue. It thinks it's a flex fuel car, even though I don't have it set to flex fuel. Just says model, doesn't say model multi-fuel. It's saying ethanol is 20%. Okay, I think we might have figured it out. I knew something was going on. Ethanol sensor. None. Fault value, 0%. All right, I'm going to hit save. I'm going to store that. It's definitely got a fault now, right? It should have an ethanol fault. Anything else from this map before I overwrite this log? No. Let's do a log. 8. Boom. Ethanol, 0. Motherfucker. I wonder if that's affecting my fuel up top. It's not supposed to because it's disabled. But if that is what it is, that would completely explain everything that's happening here. So turn that off. I'm gonna go back to that sensor input. Turn it back on again, or turn it off again. Okay, none. Okay, and then hit save. And then log again. It's back to 20. Oops. I wonder if that's it. I wonder if that's my problem. Let's find out. Let's do another poll. It's not changing anything. Ethanol 0. Okay. And it's saying my fuel is 32 Celsius as well. All right, power is super similar. How's the timing? Are we still at 14? Yeah, 14 and 19. Yep, we're still there with that. Still pulling 10%, 9%. And air fuels are 7.5 to 7.8, 7.6. Oh, 7.8. Oh, it's still way there. Okay. All right, well, maybe not. That wasn't it. Boy, I thought, though, for a second, I thought we found something. This is weird that it does that, though. Why would it default to... Let's take this. Make sure that's saved. Take that. Do fuel main. Go modeled multi-fuel. Okay, save that. Okay, that pisses it off. Good. AFR lambda target 2, I don't care because we're not going to blend anything. And right now our lambda says, or ethanol says 0. Okay. So ethanol still says 0. I do need to check my blend 0. Okay. And then multi-fuel.
That was another thing too. We drove Mikkel's car.
Yeah.
It's on 92.
Oh, that's why it was slow.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
It's 92. I asked him, I texted him this morning, I was like, is there any ethanol in your car? He said, no. It's been like 3 tanks of fuel and he hasn't had any ethanol at all.
Gotcha.
So it's like straight up 9.8 or 10%. So that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes way more
Also
sense.
why it would be a little laggy too.
Okay. Let's do another poll. Oh, this thing has fuel temp in the tank, doesn't it? It should have fuel temp in the tank. Is that turned on? None. It's definitely got it. Is it hooked up, though? That's the question. It is not. I gotta find out where that's connected. Alright, any changes here this time? Nope. Alright, so it's none of that. It's none of that. It was worth checking, though. It's definitely worth checking. %. Ah, man, that is just so hard to believe. How much back pressure that means that there is? It means this thing's generating a ton of back pressure. There's so much exhaust gas retention on here for it to be 10%. That is just... I mean, I'll be honest. It's been a long time since I've done a regular fixed cam 2-liter. I honestly can't remember the last time I did a fixed cam 2-liter with a link. So... it's been a long time. But to have it fall that hard after it hits boost, man, that's crazy. I mean, it's always going to, right? Like for VE to be a real VE, a lot of ECUs do this wrong. They don't have it be a real VE. Like when back pressure goes up, you're going to lose VE. Plain and simple. Back pressure goes up, VE goes down. Right? You retain more exhaust in the cylinders with the more back pressure. It's kind of hard to get around that. But a lot of turbos are really efficient in some zone, you know, and typically that zone is like 7 to 14 psi based on the size of the turbo. Somewhere the engine's really efficient, like 4,000, 4,500. Somewhere around there, you get like these big gains in efficiency. And it doesn't seem like this is doing that at all, anywhere, honestly. Anywhere. And that's a shame. Okay, boost target is definitely not. Oh, that's what it's going to do. I guess I'll say, wow, boost target better not be fucking 35 pounds. It's 35%. 21, 22, 23, 24. All right, that's a lot of boost. Let's do it. Let's kick it. Let's add a zone. Like that. Yeah. All right. Okay, and I have this cap at 20, which we knew. Let's set that at 65. Yeah. And where's stage 1 duty? Oh, I don't want that. I want that. That. There we go. Like that. That'll help the spool. Okay. A little bit. And then 32, we haven't been there yet, but 20 gets us 14. So 14 is where? Here-ish. I feel like I get this being a little on the laggy side here. Yeah, we need to add some more. This turbo's small enough. We need to let it eat some. Not that much. Let it eat some. Like that. Okay. And then we're going to do 20 gives us 14. So I don't need 35 there. But I'll leave it there and see how the boost control system adapts to that. This needs to be lower, like this. Here, 20 is giving us, here I got 20% set at 5 pounds. That's not right. That's not right. Our boost target is atmospheric pressure. We don't need any wastegate duty cycle. And we do this guy. There we go. Makes more sense. Why is it flashing? Did that turn off the ethanol sensor? I thought I turned that off. It did. I just never cleared the fault code for it. So 5% here. I like that. Go with 5% here. But then once we get over 55, it just keeps pulling more and more and more and more to hit target until it's pulling up its max clamp, and then it falls even rich again. So we look at it here. Our target's 7.6. It pulled 7.4 essentially, and then another 10% there. So that's pulling a lot of fuel. Yeah. So we need to drop it more from red line to 55. Excuse me. Our load is pretty flat here at 240-ish. So that's nice. Boost control is adding only a little bit of wastegate duty cycle as it's climbing up. You can see here that the integral actually pulled a smidge from where it was because it was over that target that we saw, that 46 boost. or 46 level pressure, and then you see it adds it back in to keep it around that target. So it came out and brought it back in, and looks like he did a pretty good job. I don't mind a little tiny overshoot like that. That's pretty good. This right here. Yeah, that's actually really nice. The pre-spool's trying to keep it doing all it can do, 90 freaking percent, all the way to 4,200. So it spooled a tiny bit faster with that full-on thing. But boy, she's not really making much of power, is it? This is a 16G. My timing's way low now. Okay. All right, I got a lot of timing coming out of it as boost comes in. I can add another fucking 2 degrees of this probably easily. Fuel pressure looks great. Dwell might be a smidge low. Timing's low, dwell's low, fuel's still a smidge rich. But otherwise, it's doing great. So I need to kill VE as RPM increases more. So, that's why, because I still have it. This map goes to 9,500, and it ain't doing that. Right, like I'm not even operating up here in this zone. That's 8,000 zone. I'm just up here in these 4 columns. So as we go up, I need less. And that makes sense. This is a fixed cam engine. VE is going to tank with factory cams. VE is just going to drop. There's no AVCS here. We can't pull overlap out. So the overlap's just going to kill the VE up top dramatically. So that all makes sense. All right, let's go to ignition again. Now, if you look at where we were here, we see we got more ramp this time in this area. I've got more ramp like it likes, which explains some of the gains as it increased, but it's kind of anemic down low. So 14, 12, 11. Yeah, so this spot here is just a smidge conservative. Not that it's bad to be conservative, right? That's people want their 2 liters to stay together. There's no reason to give them moon tunes. Whoops. I didn't go to the right cell. I want to go to this cell. Oh no, that's the right cell. That's what's wrong with that. There we go. This one. And that one. That. Okay. So over 65, I didn't gain any power, so I need to take some of that time back out. That was wasted. Over 65. Bonk. Let's do that one and that one. Okay, take some time back out. Don't need that. Let's check this guy. Okay, it looks like it pulled a little bit on me right there, but did it need to pull any? What do we set at? Our gain is at 3, which we know is very aggressive for the link on the Subaru. This says 3 and 4 were louder than the other channels. Did they drop after timing was pulled? Come on, stop it. So 1, 3, and 4. And that was where? That was at over 60. Okay. So that's where I pulled the time back out again because I said it didn't seem to do anything. Well, it didn't seem to do anything because it pulled some timing on its own. Okay. And how are we looking? Gets up there. So that gain makes it really peaky. That's the issue. The gain being too high. That you get these bigger spikes. It may not even be. You see how flat it is, and then it goes. And this isn't knock yet. There's no way this is knocking yet. But up here it could be, but it's not likely. That's what 15 degrees at 6,200. I mean, that's not a lot of timing with a 7.5 lambda, which is basically like 10.8 or 10.9. Like that's not likely to be the case, but that doesn't mean I don't want to look out for it. The frequency could be wrong for a 2-liter actually. Is that right? No, they were 5.8 times 2, so yeah, that's 1112. That might have to get hot in here, so that should be fine. So 1 and 3 have higher gains, and they're the ones that are reading higher up here. So let's knock 1 down a little bit. Let's knock 3 down a smidge, like that. Then let's go to our individual cylinder. Do a generic 4 real quick. Does better when it's not pulling timing. Still not much power. Well, that is not impressive. This thing needs ABCS bad. 11, that's jack, and then 15.8, 16 up top. Hardly anything. Still got this telling me that it's noisy, but, you know, is it? Is the question. Is it really? These traces are so broad. Let me double check. Where is it? I know they have it somewhere. So this is saying 12.4, and I'm at 11. So we'll try it. See what 12 looks like. Just a 2. See if I can see the lines better. I'll have to lower the resolution or the threshold for that. Alright, so my signal to noise ratio is better on that for sure. We're getting less spikes, more constant. So that's a little better. Looks like one still might be angry, but that's totally understandable because one's going to be a lot leaner now. All the other cylinders got richened up in that little trim table I made, and the O2 sensor is doing an average, so one's technically leaner than everything else across the board there. And so I'm going to go and change those tables now, but I wanted to see if they did silence number 4. It did make 4 a little quieter and all of that. But you got to remember, this individual fuel trim, these are all going to be getting extra fuel, and the O2 sensor is going to see richer the tailpipe. This is not getting extra fuel, so it's going to be leaner. The O2 sensor is going to pull fuel down to hit that target, and now I've got a situation where I've leaned out this cylinder because I'm in closed loop control, right? So that's something to think about. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this away from single cylinder or single value because I don't like that, and we're going to do it based on load. And then that will go to the table like that. And then I need cylinder 1, which I'm not even going to add fuel to cylinder 1, so I guess I don't technically need it. So I'm going to take cylinder 4. I'm going to add to cylinder 4 up top a couple percent, just a couple percent. I'm not going to do 4% like I did earlier. I'm just going to do 2%. It's a little bit of extra fuel because I'm going to enrich the target overall to help give cylinder 1 an opportunity as well. Since I don't know if this fuel is good, bad, whatever. 2, I only had 1% on it, so we're just going to go with 1. Too big. Max is 0. Oh, that's the wrong table. That's the knock one. I want to go there. That's funny. I thought that axis looked different. Cancel. Cylinder 3. Cylinder 3. I'm going to leave 3. Yeah, so 1, leave alone. Gave 2 a little extra. 3, I'm going to leave nothing. 4, 2%, and I'm enriching my target by a smidge. AFR lambda target. We're going to bring that down. To a little richer. And really, I don't need it down here. Honestly, I should keep this. Should probably keep this leaner. It's really up top that it needs it. When the load's been sustained for a longer period of time, then that will like that. There we go. So we'll actually richen the target up with load. On the M-Tron, I set a timer, and I set a timer for full load. So if you're doing just a quick pull in one gear, it doesn't need to correct anything. But if you're going ripping through the gears or doing a long pull in fourth or something like that, then it counts up, and as you're in full power over a certain boost threshold, or actually I have it set for airflow threshold, over a certain period of time, then it starts to add a little extra fuel and pull a little bit of extra timing, because that's what the engine needs. And doing that, you're not necessarily even losing power, but the heat that's soaking into the engine is getting better absorbed by the fuel as it enters in. You're getting a larger delta, you get a little more atomization, and the burn speed goes up, which means the ignition timing requirement goes down to make the same amount of power. So you got to pull it out. Otherwise, what happens is instead of you giving it less, now it's burning it too fast, and you get more knock events. So with the increase in load over a period of time, you definitely want to pull a little bit of timing, not a lot, just a little bit of timing, and add a smidge of fuel, and that helps keep them making the same power as you're in it for an extended period of time. Now this you see here, this pull, this is from before I didn't clear the trim. That's why it's 0.9 right here. That was from the last pull after I had to clear it. If you were seeing that, wondering what that was. Okay. Now the other thing I gotta do is I gotta lower this threshold now. I dropped the, I changed my signal to noise ratio on it. What the fuck? Why is it nothing? There it is. Oh, I'm on the wrong one. There it goes. That should trip, right? I want that one to trip. So I gotta lower that now since I lowered my gain. So this value here is about 250. This one here trips, I want it to trip about here, which is like 275-ish. So let's go to my threshold. And then go to where I'm at. And down here, I want this to be like 275. Maybe 280. We'll try 280 first. And then this at, oh, that never hit that spot, obviously. This spot here can come way down to 60. Excuse me. Now the engine gets a little noisier as RPM goes up, so we'll raise this up, not that far. We'll raise this up to like 90, and then we'll bump that up as RPM comes up. And then we're going to take this guy and this guy. We'll leave 90 here too, why not? Like that. Do this. Do this, like that. Okay. That might be too low. Right there. Not to log that, but that zone might be a little too low. Okay, let's do one more. All right, I want this to track that curve a little better. It's spiking up too quick here. So that is where it's right here at 5,000. That's too quick. So actually, I was wrong. I thought that was going to be too slow of a ramp, but it was actually, or I thought it was too slow, and it was actually too fast. Right here is 250, 280. Why does this range seem so wide right here? It seems really wide when it's only a couple thousand RPM. It's because this goes from 45 to 65. I'll show this poll later, so I'm not gonna wait for this thing for so long. Does that say 60? I should be doing these in third gear, maybe. Jesus Christ, I'm hitting the button. Stop it. Yeah, I might need to do these in 60. In 60. I might need to do these in third gear. All right. Let's do it again. I lost all my timing. Put that threshold too close. Yeah, look at that. Oh, well, that wasn't even above the threshold. Oh, I didn't clear it from last time. Shit. Didn't clear it from last time, but look at it. That's better. Fits the profile better. When did I let off? I ended it a little early. I could have kept going, but the power's dropping so far. Why? Why bother? This thing is just not flowing. This engine is not. It's not moving a lot of air. Something is definitely restricting it for sure. For it to have such low VE, I mean, we run 20-something pounds of boost and make less than a stage 1 STI is not good. It's not ideal, that's for sure. Oops. Can I go to 16 with this? I can go to 16. Or if that's too high. I'm trying to get out of those damn valves. If I got on to 5 or 6, I might be catching way too many valves. That wasn't so bad. That was first order, because 6.2 is first order. That wasn't so bad. I thought that'd be a lot noisier than it was. Often you got to use second or third order to get them in the right zone. I never won the still angry, huh? It's adding fuel too. To 1. Okay, so let's raise this threshold a smidge, and then I'm going to tweak the ignition advance for that cylinder. So right here, it needs to go a tiny bit up, just a tiny bit, like that. And this one goes up a tiny bit, like that. And we'll go to individual cylinders for timing. And then we'll make it a full table, like that. And then we'll do cylinder 1, like that. And we'll do cylinder 4. Because we all know cylinder 4 needs a little extra love. Okay. Before I do that, let's double check this zeroed out, like I told it to. It did, okay. Trim cylinder 1. It really gets noisy over 6. So let's pull a degree out of there. Oops, not that one. this one. And we'll pull 1.5 out of 4. Like that. Okay. I like where that has taken me. Yeah, Elijah, most Subarus have it until I think it's 11 or 14. They took it out, but most Subarus have it. This one has it. It just isn't hooked up to the ECU for some reason because it's got a link. I don't know if they just didn't run that wire or what. I need to pull the factory manual pin out and see what pin it's on, and if it's connected to the link anywhere. But yeah, they have fuel temp from the factory. They have for a while. Well, they have for a while. They had for a while until they got rid of it in 11 or 12, 14, one of those years. Got rid of it. I think it's 11 when they changed the wire harness. Boy, she felt like a rock though, doesn't she? This thing just does not want to make power up there at all. It just says no. It says no. And it's crazy to me too because the boost is so flat. Look at that. That boost is so flat and on point. And the wastegate duty cycle barely trying. Like it's barely trying to make boost. Just barely adding a couple percent. But this engine is just not liking it. It doesn't feel like it's running bad. Just the output says it's running bad. You know, that it's not making what it should be making. But it doesn't feel like it. Like it runs super smooth. I might get some dwell down here. I don't know if this has the black or the gray coil packs, but they do make a difference with dwell. Oh, I like that. Oops, that one's too late. There we go. A tiny bit of dwell, that might help. AVCS would definitely help, but this doesn't have it. All right, I think that's it. I think that is all I need to do. Oh, I gotta set the gears up. Apparently it thinks I was in the wrong gear. Oh, I lost connection. Gear 0, 116. All right. Look at that, first gear. All right. 66. Okay. And 46. And 33. And 25 is where it's at. All right. Save that. That was a little better. Oh, I have all this on the wrong guy's name. Shit, I just realized that. I put this in the wrong car. Oh, that's a mistake. Not that it affects the dyno graphs any, just whose name is on it is wrong. And I think it just dives. Adding timing didn't seem to help any, but it looks like it could use some. I mean, 15 degrees up there isn't very much. Honestly, it's not a lot of ramp. These things usually take more ramp than that, but you see what happens. If I give it more ramp, it wants to make a lot of noise. So, mine just had shit fuel in it. Really. Could have crap fuel. If that's the case, it'll run better when it gets good fuel. But otherwise, I think I'm done. I'm starting to sweat again because I cannot keep the temperature square in this thing. Yeah, she won't carry power. Let me adjust the dyno. Do another pull. See if this helps any. Sometimes moving this bed a little longer helps because the cars kind of bind up when they load up. The suspension tweaks and everything. So if I extend it sometimes a little bit, then it helps with the way the straps are. It keeps it from like loading up and compressing the axles funny. We'll see. Hey, what's the intake air temp on the top end there? How much is that shit heating up? $50C. It's getting up there. Oh, can make a difference. Runs good, it doesn't make shit power. .6, half degree right there. I bet this is a shitty old fuel. All right, well that's it. That's all the suffering I'm willing to do. You can't force it to make power. That's just one thing. Like I've said, it'll make what it makes. You can't force it, especially if it's fighting you like this. Like you're just gonna blow it up. So definitely don't want to do that. And maybe the owner wants that eventually, but not right now. So. Is what it is. That's just what they do. So, moral of the story, fixed cam 205 suck. And if your invoice has a section with comments on it about the last time you were in for service and it says this engine will blow up if you continue to drive it, you should probably fucking fix it. Don't continue to drive it. It's not an upsell. At least not here it ain't. It ain't an upsell. That's your shit's about to blow up if you continue to drive it. And if it does say that, and it blows up in 4 months, That's your fault. Don't blame the shop. Like, that is on you. You were told there was a problem that needed to be fixed and addressed, and then you did not have it fixed or addressed. Yeah, that's dumb. Also, parts wear out. You get something that wears out, don't tell the shop that they sold you a faulty component. You got 30,000 miles on it. It's covered in oil because you have an oil leak from something else fucking it up. It's probably on you. I mean, all the oil all over it and the giant oil leak that was never fixed just goes to show the level of neglect that you have. So, don't neglect your car. And if you do, don't blame the shop because you neglected your car. You get a lot of customers, especially the younger generation, for some reason, they feel like their car is your responsibility. It's their car, it's their responsibility. It's your car, it's your responsibility. That's one thing that people got to keep in mind. I think too many GoFundMes and social media, people thinking that everyone needs to share the burden or something. So, yeah, it's your car, it's your responsibility. You break it, you broke it. Don't ignore it when the shop says something's really wrong. It's going to break. Because it'll break. So, if you just arrived at the stream and you missed that part of it, there's a couple customers in the last week that have ignored the comments and the things that they were told by their shop and broke their car and then got angry at the shop for them breaking their car when they were told this car has problems. So, it's a common thing though. Just 2 this week is one thing, but it happens a lot. And it's very frequently that you get phone calls and like, oh, this thing is messed up, but I don't know what to do. And you're like, well, you look at your last invoice. We told you that it's messed up. So, and then one guy's like, this car's just nonstop problems. Like, no, dude, it's been the same problem. You haven't fixed it. It's not like it's going to go away. Some of them think if they just ignore it, it'll go away. It just fix itself all of a sudden. No, that's not how that works. They don't just go away. But, yeah, one guy said that his car is just nonsense. I'm just tired of all these little problems. And it's only ever been one problem that he's never had fixed. Like, if you experience it every day, it's not all these little problems. It's this one problem that's still there that I haven't addressed yet. But, you know, it sounds better and more dramatic if I say, oh, it's just nonstop problems. It's the nonstop problem if you don't fix it. So, we get some guys that are just so unrealistic about their vehicles and what they expect. We had someone here who's fucking homeless. She came in. She's like, I'm homeless. I'm like, oh, that's a bummer. Yeah, but I got some money from my grandma. I want to buy an access port. That's $750 for an access port, or $675 for her car. I don't know what it's one of those for her car. Around $7. And you're fucking homeless. Maybe don't buy an access port. Fresh ink on her arm. Maybe stop getting tattoos. Maybe don't get a tattoo. Don't get an access port. Don't buy a Stanley Cup. Maybe save some money and put it towards your fucking house. Don't be homeless. It's crazy. The shit that I see here, it's absolutely crazy. So, yeah. People have some really weird priorities. I'm homeless. I'm here to buy an access port. Like, is your car broken? No. But I want it faster. Okay, you're going to increase the chance of it breaking. You can't afford a place to live. You can afford to fix the car? What the fuck? What are you thinking? Right? Yeah. Guys, if I was homeless, I'd open source tune things. Or maybe don't. It's true. You can't sleep in a car and you can't raise a house. That's true. It's true. But you can also race yourself to being broke as a joke with a car too. Yeah. Yeah. Once you buy an access port, tune your car, increased chance it's going to fail. And you won't be able to afford to fix it. Homeless. Fresh ink. and piercings. Man, to have tits and a vagina, that must be the life. Just bounce around from dude to dude if you want. This guy's nice. Stay at his house for a few days. He'll let me stay. That must be something. Dudes can't do that shit unless you're gay. Then you could probably do that. Because dudes are accommodating. But some chick's like, you homeless? You ain't staying here. Get the fuck out of here. It's crazy. It's fucking crazy. Anyways, that's the ramblings of an old man after tuning in the car and getting asphyxiated by smoke. I appreciate you guys stopping by. It's going to be a short week because I'm going to Vegas, baby. I'm going to Vegas next for the weekend. We're going to go see AC/DC. AC/DC. There's like 6 stops in the U.S. on this tour. That's it. So we're going to go see AC/DC. It's going to be cool. But anyways, I might have another tune this week. I don't know. I will see you guys around, though, until then. I appreciate you again. Thank you for spending your day with me.